Some student asked me question related to sulfite radical, and question was how the valency of sulfite is 2. I'm going to answer them in another method like this. Actually, sulfite, its formula is SO3 and its valency is 2. And it consists of one sulfur atom and 3 oxygen atoms connected to each other. Now sulfur has got 6 valence electron. Sulfur, its atomic number is 16, that's why first orbit 2, second orbit 8, third orbit contains 6. And that's why 6 is the valence electron. In case of oxygen also it is 6. Why? Because first cell or orbit contains 2, second cell contains 6. That's why both of them have 6 valence electrons. Now how I am stating this, look at this. Sulfur has got 6 electrons this way. Here we have 2 electrons, here also 2 electrons, here also 2. Now total number of electrons is 6. Now for oxygen the same. Here we have 2 electrons, here we have 2, 2 to 4, and here it is 2, and altogether 6 electrons. Now here also 2, 4 and 6. We are talking about valence electrons. 2, 4 and 6. Now the question is how they share electron. Accordingly their valency, this valency of sulfite can be declared. Now there are 2 electrons at the upper side, what I am showing here. It is shared with oxygen atom of this oxygen atom, and there is double bond. But in this case only 1 electron of sulfur is shared with 1 electron of oxygen, single bond. Here also the same. This is the sharing of electrons. Now the question is how its valency is now 2. This is sulfite, its valency is 2. Look at this. We are talking about now oxygen. How many electrons are there in the outermost shell of the oxygen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 are shared from the sulfur. That's why altogether 8. It means 8 electrons are present in the outermost shell. It formed octet. Now it is satisfied. But in this case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 1 electron from sulfur is shared, and altogether there are 7 electrons, not 8, and octet is not formed. That's why to form octet it requires 1 electron, and 1 electron is needed here, so I'm writing -1. Why minus? Because it requires 1 electron. And here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 are present and 1 from sulfur is shared. That's why altogether there is 7. Octet is not formed. That's why this one also requires 1 electron. And so as a whole this sulfite requires 2 electrons from other, and it requires 2 electrons. It gains 2 electrons from other in the chemical reaction. That's why its valency is 2, and it is denoted by minus sign because electrons are needed to fulfill the outermost shell. Now I'm talking only about octet for oxygen. Why we are not talking about the octet for sulfur? Now I want to give you a small description for this. Look at this. This is periodic table, and this first part of the period, I mean to say some few elements from period table. First element hydrogen, and then we have helium. These two elements are in the same period, and then lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon comes under what? Helium. And after neon there is sodium and magnesium, and then aluminium and silicon, and just below the nitrogen phosphorus, just below the oxygen there is sulfur. Now we are concerned at this time, we are concerned with these two elements, oxygen and sulfur. Here oxygen and sulfur. This is first period of the periodic table. This is second period of the periodic table. This is third period of the periodic table. Oxygen lies in second period of the periodic table. And if an element is in first period, then it has only one cell, only one orbit in its atom. But if an element lies in second period, it has two orbits in its atom, two cells in its atom. But if an element lies in third period, then it has three cells or three orbits in its atom. Now, why I'm talking about all this? Because if an element has only one cell in its atom, then it will be satisfied with two electrons, forming duplet in the chemical reaction. If an element has two cells, then outermost cell will be satisfied with 8 electrons, forming octet. But if an element has 3 cells, then the third cell may contain more than 8 electrons. Up to 18 electrons it can hold, 18 electrons in the outermost cell. So it may be satisfied with 8 electrons, or it may contain more than 8 electrons as valence in its valence cell. That's why now oxygen always forms octet in the chemical reaction, because it has two cells. But sulfur has got 3 cells, and that's why it may contain 8 or more than 8 electrons. This is the violation of the octet rule by sulfur. We have to be clear about this. This is the twist. The sulfur is quite different than other elements, and it is quite different than oxygen. It may contain more than 8 electrons. That's why, let's see once again how many electrons it has. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now how many are shared? 7 8 9 and 10. Now it contains 10 electrons in its outermost cell. And this is the reason why sometimes sulfur forms sulphite, sometimes sulfate, and valency is different. Valency is 2 in both the cases, because of the electrons contained in the valence cell is different for sulphite and sulfate. In case of sulfate, I told you in previous class also. Okay, this is the simplest way to represent this valency of sulphite, I think. If you are benefited by this video, then I'll request you to subscribe my channel, like it, and it will be better to share with others, because knowledge should be shared to each other, and it will go to far distance. Okay, this much for today.